make the people who are watching recordings very jealous. Guys, you've missed people who are watching on record. You've missed a great, I would say, life lesson. मैं 2 मिनट के लिए अगर आप वो वाला देखते तो पीछे से ऐसे लाइट आ रही थी, पगड़ी वगड़ी बंध गई थी मेरे ऊपर. आई वाज अ बाबा. But this is what you miss when you are watching the recorded session. Next time आ जाना. And let me share my screen. Otherwise अभी आएगी यार विशाखा बेचारी रात को इधर उधर घूमती रहती, सारे कॉल्स में रिकॉर्डिंग रिकॉर्डिंग बोलती है. She's doing a great job. Okay, before we do this, one more thing I want to share from the copywriting batch. Let's watch this video. Okay, just a minute. इधर वो वीडियो नहीं दिखेगा. I will have to. अरे नहीं करना है साइन. So this is what we do. ये बहुत लंबा है, मतलब आप देख रहे हो 36 स्लाइड्स का पूरा इनका कोर्स जाता है. हाँ, ये सब मैंने अपने बखान करे ग्राउंड रूल्स. लेट्स वॉच दिस वीडियो टुगेदर. यू कैन अरे can hear it?
Creativity is extraordinary. It can come from anywhere and exists in everyone. It's in her and in him and in them. Blurring the lines between code and chaos, it can take any shape, some of which you would never expect. Like all of us, it's a work in progress. When I choose creativity, I take the harder path, the unfinished search in pursuit of the exceptional, a sprint forward where there is no finish line. Creativity has the power to transform people, build business, and shape society in a way that nothing else can. It walks with me every step of the way, through all stages and diversions. It's insight and inspiration, it's encouragement and connection, milestones and magic. Creativity is not only in anyone, but for everyone. Whoever you are, wherever you are, stay restless, aim higher, push forward.
What is creativity? अरे सबने वीडियो देखा ना कि नहीं देखा?
Yes, sir.
So what's creativity to you?
It's basically the ability to organize ideas in new ways. Doing something unique.
Yeah. They said one line. Creativity is about challenging society. It's about shaping society. And creativity is not for anyone, but for everyone. I love the shot where they imagine. Can you imagine in a erupting volcano, there can be popcorns popping out? Can you imagine that alienated face? How can a face look like? That's creativity. To imagine a face of an alien is in itself a creative approach to it. And in that thing, one line was also there. Whenever I'm approaching creativity, I choose the hard way. I choose the hardest route. So creativity is never easy. You need to be khaskofied to actually be creative. So I'm not promoting the copywriting workshop or anything here, but one thing very clear that this kind of approach helps you build a content, helps you build a mindset. Because as a content writer in a world where everyone can write content now, the WhatsApp University has made it so appealing and so approachable, and anyone can write 10 ways to get rich, 5 home remedies. But to understand that this is a creative process is what you all are here for. You all know there is an approach to this thing. अदरवाइज आप भी ओके गूगल करते, चैट जीपीटी को बोलते और आगे बढ़ाते काम. सरस छे, we move forward. Perfect. So in this session, we'll be touching two things: content writing, what is content writing, and the skills we should be nurturing as content writers. Industry 2.0 basically means when the internet happened, when the connectivity of writers and the readers happened on a global scale. Before internet, we should remember that people were confined in the concept of reading different articles from different writers, unless someone was very rich, was traveling to a different region or different state or different country, and again after traveling had that money to buy a book from there and get that book to this particular home and to a writer was a privilege in itself. And the writer to read it and adapt it, and for the readers to adopt that mindset of from which the writer has written, is a layer in itself. But when we started this industry 2.0, when we started using Google, when we started using YouTube, Facebook, and other forms of content or other platforms through which we can read content, blogs, articles, the industry 2.0 for writers emerged and for readers as well. Perfect. Let's move ahead. Cool. So majorly these four things are in content writing industry, and these four has a big mindset, approach, and perspective in themselves. When I say, and this is a very basic thing, the element of digital marketing, it's like that. Yeah, yeah, it's just an element for digital marketing. We need to understand when we are getting into marketing, we when we market ourselves in a group of strangers, what's the first thought that you have? Let's say if you have to approach 3 people who are strangers completely, what's your thought or what's your brain wire map? What do you think basically? I just want to know that. What's the first thought? And no, and there is no option that okay, I'll not talk to them, I'm introvert. You have to talk to them.
Introduce ourselves.
Cool. What else? This will Naisha do.
Tell
And
them why
yeah,
we're talking to them.
tell them.
Why we're talking to them.
Perfect. No right answer is here, right? Okay. Or I would say no wrong answers are here. Every answer is right answer. See, I am trying hard to make it interactive. आप बोलोगे तो मैं 10 मिनट में सेशन खत्म कर दूंगा, तुम इंटरेक्ट नहीं करोगे तो।
I think it's also important that we take into account basically the setting of the situation. Like, what's the context? Why are we talking to them, or why?
Yeah,
What kind of a group it is?
and it depends on who it is. Like, is it a old man or a kid or someone our age?
Mm-hmm. Also, one thing you will factor in: how do you want to portray yourself in that group? Do you want to sound nerdy over there, or do you want to sound someone who can dominate, who speaks from a point of authority? That also depends. So when a brand comes into the existence, that element is very important. When I'm getting into digital marketing, a brand doesn't have a face. And if the founder or the teammates starts making content as well, they will become an identity in themselves to which the brand is associated. They will not become the brand. At the end, brand will have their say as well on certain occasions. So when brand is coming out into existence, when it is going to market itself, it will have a digital personality around which the brand speaks to their audience. That gets me to the second point. We write content for that specific audience. We target the audience, and this target audience can be understood in different ways. It can be on the basis of age groups, it can be on the basis of psychographics, it can be on the basis of their demographics, it can be on the basis of their interests, their behaviors. These things, these 5 things majorly comprise everything inside it. And when you know your target audience, see what happens. Like you guys mentioned, you need to know what setting are you in to actually converse with that group of strangers. That becomes important, to know the situation and to know the person as well. If I'm in the setting of like business meeting, if I'm talking to some manager or someone who is at some managerial position, and someone who is a founder, my approach to two people will be different. To founder, I'll be directly trying to pitch in my idea, get him on board on a call or something. Whereas in manager point of view, I would try to find a contact in the company to get inside that company. I would try to find that faculty in that particular college that I'm trying to apply, so that I build a good rapport and understand. Whereas if I get the principal of that college or the dean of that college, my approach will be totally different. So when we know the target audience from brand's perspective or from any person's perspective, who we are writing for, if we know them, we write a very customized, tailor content for them, which they will read. Our main aim is to make them read your content. And to make them read the content, we need to understand that it's the content that they will read. What they want to read is what we have to write in a great way, in our way. And when you start writing, people start listening to you, people start reading your content, they start developing a taste of your content. And when they start developing a taste of your content, they start getting aware about the brand. So you try, let's say, ice cream of same flavor from all different brands. After trying, you start developing the taste. Hi, these 3 out of 10 are great brands. Now you don't recognize the flavor that you want, but you start recognizing the quality that the brand is giving. Pehle you were having a big ball out of which you go and taste, and at the end you start making your idea that these 3 brands are good brands. I can taste different things from them as well because I like their quality of the product. So, similarly, taking this analogy to content writing, they'll come to your content if they feel that this is shareable, if they feel that this has some information that they can take on to their group and shine out as a person of information and give them some leverage, give them some validity, they'll read your content. And when you give this over a period of time, it starts creating awareness. But you need to give them clarity throughout the content piece. See, what happens is when we write with emotions, right? We now know the audience. We will try to break down all the points that we have researched about the target audience and start making sense out of it to make people aware about our brand. And in that phase, we need to understand what is our goal. We are making people aware. Do we want to feel them just, do we want to make them feel just empowered? Do we want to have them um, redirected to another blog? Do we want to have them drop down to our newsletter form? This is one type of clarity. The another is, what kind of emotion should a person seek out from a post or a blog or an article or a white paper or a case study? You all must have met a person who is very confusing. जो कुछ बोलते बोलते that person will say something else and then jumps to another point. And at one point you are like, "Arey, give him a slap or a slap and just leave out." You don't have to become that person here when you are writing content, because here no physical person is speaking, but you are writing and people are reading. So you need to provide them clarity that, okay, this has to motivate my reader. This has to make them feel empathetic. This has to make them feel more brand awareness point of view, say, and the other can be sales. So your clarity throughout the content should be there. What you want to express. All good सब ऐसे ऐसे सर में बैठ रहे हैं और all bouncer like महेंद्र सिंह धोनी से डक कर रहे हैं 3 साल से पर समझ नहीं आ रहा है. Is it so?
No.
Getting everything? Yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Oh, I see this time. Ishika ki DP and Anamika's DP are very opposite. Ishika, you have a nice DP. This is Joker, right?
No, sir. American Psycho.
Oh, nice. Hey, tell me one thing. Who who all have kept Karwa Chauth for their crush? कोई भी कुछ नहीं बोल रहा है. I get it. Off the record, I'll ask this question again. People who are watching on record, shoot me your answer on my email. Nice. So, moving on, these are 4 major objectives of content writing. Just a minute. Huh? Oh, wow, Varsha. You pong during Karwa Chauth. Auntie could not keep that fast, you see, because of you. Oh,
No, sir. She doesn't eat at all.
she doesn't eat at all.
No, she doesn't keep the fast at Karwa Chauth.
Acha, acha. Nice. Great. So, coming back to the objectives, the first thing we have already talked about this is you. This is a way to enter digital sphere. The second is what we were talking about. It gives a viewpoint when we are starting and giving a clear thought from brand's perspective to people on certain topics, on certain things, and also when we write the mission and the vision statement of a company. This gives a professional viewpoint, and this is important when it comes to big short companies and companies who are seeking investments. Your professional viewpoint should be very clear, because this can lead to two different things. One is the demonstrate this expertise thing, and the second thing can be lowering sales, affecting the brand reputation and lowering the sales. When we start creating viewpoint, we start giving out our viewpoint, our creative viewpoint. What happens is we start demonstrating our expertise in this industry. Like if I know something about, if I know about content writing, I started by introducing myself and giving a little in brief about me that set the mood and gave you a viewpoint from where I'm coming. Now, when I'm getting into the course, I'm demonstrating the expertise I have in this industry. What is it making you feel or benefited out of it is getting the knowledge base. So your demonstration, when you're a writer, you're writing for a brand or for yourself, when you are demonstrating this expertise, what happens is it enhances the conversion rate of people from just reading your content, sharing your content, to buying from your company. It starts happening very quickly. And this is a process that you go through. Great. Do you want to ask anything? Should I move forward?
We can move forward.
Perfect. Great. So these are four skills, and the rest four are in the next slide. The first is versatility. At one point of time, when I was working in a job, I was a project manager for 10, no, 11 different brands from different niche as well. So I cannot write in the same funky way that I'm writing for this food brand. I cannot take that tone, that style to my astrology brand, right? I cannot be very quirky, very jolly around this astrology brand. Otherwise, nobody will take that business very seriously. So you need to be very flexible around changing your tone and your writing style. And we all have been. See, from the time we have started making friends, we have a different tone for talking to our friends, siblings, and families, different writing style, the writing of the text that we send to our parents, siblings, friends. So we have this kind of memory. It's just when you start writing for a brand has a framework of itself. So just you need to make it a practice of yours. Second is research oriented. Now, one thing is very clear: when you start researching about a brand, You get a lot of facts and details. You need to cross check it. You need to, at the end, make a perfect representation of that research that you've done. You need to be very authentic when you're representing your information to people. Third is communication skills. We need to be courteous enough to establish a professional relationship. We need to understand that at the end of the day, however meme I'm making, however people I'm reaching, in my writing style, every time I will, whenever I'm interacting in the comments as a brand, whenever I am interacting in casual blogs rather than articles from a brand's perspective, I will have this in my back of the mind that okay, this is a professional setup. So my jokes needs to be, or my quirkiness needs to be around that professionalism. The fourth is prioritizing quality. I have written this in pure pressure, I would say, not pure pressure, but this pressure of making content perfect. But when you're starting out, you should always focus on quantity of content. Should write as much content as you can, as much content as you can. In the first week of my job, I wrote more than 250 copy pieces, out of which only 20 were selected, with a comment that these are good ideas. You can build copy on this. And when I say copy and copy pieces, it's a format of writing which is termed as copywriting. That's the third live session we have. And out of those 20 thoughts that they said that, these are great, build on this, I made another 168 copy pieces. Out of those, 17 were selected. After those 17, they asked me to write more on these thought process. I write, and this time I was clever. I was like, I'll not achieve big numbers. I just wrote 50, out of which very generously they selected 16 copy. And they said, okay, to begin with, we can use this thing. So in a grand total of this, I wrote more than 600 copy pieces in my first week. So your focus should be more on writing a lot of content, because as writers, this practice needs to be developed again and again, that however good I get at content writing, I need to be much better. I need to be adaptable. I need to be reading. I need to be experimenting. And that experimentation will always come to you when you write a lot of content. For this, I usually say you can take 2-3 brands of your choice, scar the website of the brand. They might have blog section. Go to the blog section. 2-3 brands, take 2 blogs from each brand. So if you take 3 brands, it will be total of 6 blogs. You watch the screen, you write the blog. So you just copy paste on your copy or on your diary or rough copy, whatever it is, the blog that they are writing. At the end of the 6th blog, take a break of 12 hours, around 12 hours. Go back, sit, look at the 3 brands, look at the topics that you have written, take one of the topics and write your blog now. Write one blog for the brands, the number of brands that you've chosen. And see how good you do. See how better you can do. And you will start connecting the dots there. And that's how you improve the quality of your content. Fifth skill is SEO, search engine optimization. This is kind of a tool, technical aspect of content writing, which helps you reach your target audience. Sixth is proofreading. You need to carefully read your content throughout and see if there is any grammatical mistake or something like that. Because from a brand's perspective, these errors cannot be, accepted. Huh. And eighth is punctuality. You need to organize things to be before time. Let's say on 25th, I am going to upload my blog, and I have 4 people after me who will read it and approve it. So, considering their time of approval, their time of reading it, I will need to deliver these things at least 5 days before, or I would say a week before. Why? Because either of them, if they gave you one feedback that correct this thing or make it more presentable, right now it's just a cliched line. You are so messed. You'll have to go through the content again. You'll have to rewrite that whole thing. You need to structure it. And then again, all of those people will read it, approve it, and then it will be scheduled for to go live on the website. Good. सब ऐसा बैठ रहा है सर में.
So what is observant? Observant.
Oh yeah, I missed that. So being observant means, see, a lot of times what happens is when there is a boss or when you are working with a brand, there are two entities, right? One is brand, one is audience. So you know by research that how your target audience is responding to content, how your target audience is reacting to certain things and what they want, right? And so you're writing the content as per their understanding of what they consume. But we need to also understand that there is the brand. The brand also at times needs to convey a lot of things to their audience. And so, again, this is a typical mindset that happens to writers after some time. They start thinking that they know the brand very well just because they have researched a little bit about it. But the brand owner know more about the brand. So we need to comprehend, we need to understand that we are a bridge between the audience and the brand. So we need to comprehend what, along with what customers want, the demand of your client, at times what they want, at times how they want it. You can pitch in your ideas, but you need to understand that their demands is something which is getting you dal roti in your plate. Make sense, Varsha?
Yes.
For this slide, this is it, but I have one more skill that you should be nurturing and as a person, which is the skill of observing. You need to observe a lot. You need to see, you need to observe how you react to certain things, how people are consuming content, what are the trigger points. You need to observe how human behavior changes when you write certain topic and what makes them feel like running away from your content piece, what makes them share it, what makes them bond with your brand. All of these things comes to you when you observe.
But that comes under observant itself, right?
So that being observant is for the client. You need to be
Okay.
observant for the demands that client is doing. But when you start being an observer, it slightly shifts the perspective, and that gives you great stories. That gives you great stories. So when I say this thing, one mentee came to me asking later on that, sir, how do I find observation? I've been looking for it everywhere, very consciously, very actively. And then I said, that's what you're doing wrong. You need to be just aware around of your surroundings. You need to see how people are moving around you, how people are behaving, reacting, appreciating और क्रिटिसाइजिंग. रोज की नोक झोंक भी अगर आप देखोगे ना, बिल्डिंग में अगर रहते हो, घर के बाहर अगर रहते हो, these small talks that happens also gives you some points to observe. But with this thing, one thing also comes in. When you do this thing, you become very conscious of your surrounding and your actions as well, which should not be the case. You start analyzing and formulating your actions as per your surroundings, then and it does, then you become someone who is being who's not you, who is a person of situation. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay, do you have anything that you want to ask? I'll take that as a no. Yes, let's
This
take Anamika.
whole present. Okay, okay.
Actually, I wanted to ask the elements of digital marketing.
Sorry.
Elements of digital marketing.
Yeah, there are a lot of elements. One of them being this content writing. Other can be SEO, which is again you will be covering in this particular course. Another is performance marketing, which comes into the digital marketing, strategizing, campaigning, advertising. These are some very few of the elements of digital marketing.
Thank you, sir.
Perfect. Yes, Moksha.
So I was saying this whole presentation was from from a company's perspective. Like if you are working for a company and writing for them, but how should we write if you want to write independently on a generalized topic or current affairs, something like that?
So you'll have to understand what kind of target audience you're talking to. And then you start. So there are bits and pieces. If you reflect back on this particular session, you'll find a lot of bits and pieces that you can focus on. These are this POV that I've given is from brand's perspective, but this fits from every perspective. You talk about being versatile. At different times, you have different topics. You'll have to be versatile enough in your approach of writing that content, in that approach of writing the article. But understanding the target audience makes sense. Giving them clarity from the article. Do you want them to feel that this is the time for revolution to happen? For them to sense the calmness in the market? You need to have that clarity in that as well. And when you talk about being observant for the client's demand, now if you work for a newspaper, you need to understand what kind of content piece or article do they want to publish. You will give suggestions, but you need to understand that their target audience has some taste and this kind of articles they want to write. You will have ideas, you will pitch in, and out of those ideas, they will take something. You need to go on and understand, because when you are writing a content piece for some newspaper as well, they are creating their brand awareness. So awareing people about how the Hindu thinks is an approach in itself. And conversion rate also happens here. Why? Because as you build loyalty with the readers, they start promoting you. And when they start promoting you, it's because the viewpoint that you have been sharing has shown your interest in making people read and understand the real scenario, which has made them share your brand to others, and which has led you to increase revenue and have more awareness and getting people. So the core of it remains the same. Applications differs. Here, the POV that I am sharing is from the brand's perspective. That suits you, Moksha? Perfect. You guys behave like my clients. They all do this thumbs up and all. And I'm very irritated on this thumbs up.
Yes, sir, it suits me.
Okay. So if does anybody else has any doubts?
No, sir.
Perfect. See, I'm